Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look here, y'all. I have always been curious about drug dealers that end up in the pulpit. I got a lot of friends that I know that were hustlers. I'm talking about money getters, right? That ended up preaching the word, and are real serious about it, dedicated wholly to it, fully. And recently, I had somebody that pulled up on me to remind me of a story that he had told me a long time ago, but he started to fill in some blanks this time when he was talking to me, right? Because this guy, he was a big time drug dealer, but now he's preaching. He's in here preaching, uh, and he plans on doing it when he gets out. He's headed home. It won't be long, uh, by God's grace, that he'll be going home and he'll be able to uh, continue his ministry out there. But when I was talking to him, I didn't realize that uh, what had happened to him on the streets, and he still ended up coming here. And because of that, he totally changed up, you know what I'm saying, his life. So I want to share that story with you because, it seems almost unbelievable. But the more he talked to me about it, the more I started to realize, man, God is moving. And this is one of those stories, right, where you just get to see, you feel it. You feel it. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that this is one of those shows that you enjoy, but you get something out of it fulfilling. You know what I'm saying? And don't focus just on the negative and bad aspects of it. Look for the movement of God in this story, y'all. Because it's there. It's all over the place. It's all over the place. So I hope you enjoy the show, y'all. Check this out, y'all. This brother has been in and out of prison 3 or 4 times. And the time before this last time that he was in, when he got out, his whole plan was to get out and resume his drug selling. He ain't care nothing about that. He did like 4 or 5 years in, day for day, minus good time, you know what I'm saying? But he did that day for day and didn't affect him at all, didn't make him want to change up anything at all. He was selling drugs in here. He already had his pipeline set up out there. And one thing I always say, what you do in practice, you do in the game. So he was honing his craft in here, making all the type of relationships, or maintaining rather, all of the type of relationships that would allow him to jump straight out of the penitentiary back into the game. There it is. And he was making so much money in here, or had made so much money in here, that him being able to buy a large quantity when he got out wasn't going to be a problem. So he's all the way back. So like I say, he's out there, he's doing his thing. I'm talking about he's getting bread. He's shaking the spot. Everybody's like, he ain't missed a beat. He ain't missed a beat. At the end of the day, none of the people around him, you know what I'm saying, had enough influence over him to convince him that he was doing the wrong thing. Not his mother, not his father, not his grandmother, nobody. Not his girlfriend, nobody could convince him otherwise. Now, his girlfriend, what that he had kids by, he left her because she kept telling him, it's time to stop, it's time to stop. You know what I'm saying? You've made enough money, let's move on beyond this. Because they had daughters. And she kept telling him, I don't want my daughters to be around this. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to understand that, so she left him. She totally left him. And he ends up with a woman that is supportive of what he does, that likes dope boys. You know some women like that. She likes it. And now look, don't get me wrong, I ain't judging. Because everybody's on that journey. Everybody's on that making that progress to understand that eventually, hopefully, that, you know what I'm saying, what we think is good ain't good. So I'm not judging. Everybody's where they're at. You understand what I'm saying? So check this out. He's chilling, making a lot of money. He told me he had just gotten back, you know what I'm saying, from Miami, wherever. Not to pick up anything, but just vacationing, chilling and kicking and having fun and all of those types of things. So he said when he gets back, he gets he pulls up at one of his partner's houses, and the police is everywhere. So he turns around and gets on down. He goes and checks his stash, everything, to see what's going on, and everything is straight. Ain't nobody hit his house. But this is one of his main dealers. You know what I'm saying? And they're real good friends, been friends for many, many years. So don't nothing happen, so he assumes his friend didn't even say nothing, didn't tell on him, right? Kept it solid. So he helps his friend make bond and get out of the jail and all this and that. And everything is kosher. They both continue to do what they do. Unbeknownst to him, that his friend was working for the police, helping set him up. But he don't understand that. He didn't see that because they didn't bum rush him immediately. They left him alone. And usually when they do that, you know, the feds involve somebody. It's a big thing. They want the big fish. So they'll just let you continue to do what you do, letting you think that you got a good plan, a good operation going, that you're untouchable. And then you slip up. But in this situation, they were just being patient. They were just being patient. So check this out. This is what he told me what happened. One night, you know what I'm saying, he had just finished selling and making plenty of money. I'm talking about plenty of money. He said he had so much money, man, he had 2 or 3 duffel bags full that he had put up. You know what I'm saying? And he had a safe in the ground. You know, and not in the ground, but in the floor of one of his rooms in the house. The gal didn't even know where the real money was at. You feel what I'm saying? He had a safe that had some money in it, but the real money, the duffel bag money, that was in the floor. You feel what I'm saying? And couldn't nobody get to it but him. He's the only one that knew where it was at. You know? Now, his wife or girlfriend with his kids, she knew, but she was gone. She didn't want nothing to do with him. She knew about the floor, but nobody else did, okay? Remember that. So check this out. So he said he was sleeping in the bed. Him and Gad, they just finished making love, right? So he said he was knocked out. She was knocked out sleeping. And he said while he was sleeping, he said he had a vision. He said he had a vision. He said it just kept flashing up in his face. It was like a demon. You know, he said he could almost make out the face and what it looked like, but it was like a demon. It wasn't like what you see in the movies with the horns and all this. It was just this ugly glob. And he said it was dark. And every time it would flash at him, like, you know how the lights would be flicking off and on if you were in the club? He said that's how it was flashing, like them strobe lights. And he said it was flashing, and every time it flashed like that, he said a cold chill came over him. And then he said after a couple of seconds of doing that, he said then he can hear a voice telling him, I got you, I got you, I got you. You mine, you belong to me. You belong to me in the pits of hell. You belong to me in the pits of hell. And I'm looking at him while he's telling me, I'm like, yeah, right. But he was like, no, Joe T, I'm telling you. He said, I'm telling you. And then he said he started to see a light. It started to lighten up. It went from the darkness to the light. It went from the darkness to the light. And now he's saying that this voice said, no, he belongs to me. He belongs to me. And that voice kept telling him, repent, repent, walk away from this, leave it, walk away from this, repent. You belong to me. He said he woke up sweating. I'm talking about he woke up sweating, ran to the restroom, panicking, and he was shaking. He said he balled up and got right beside the toilet. You know that little space beside the toilet, between the toilet and the bathtub? He said he was sitting there just shaking and sweating. And he said he ain't never been so scared in his life. He said he got up after a few minutes. He got up. And he said the room was just cold. And he said he knew he had the heat on. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that when he laid down. He said the room was cold. You could see the cold air coming out of his mouth when he was breathing. So he stood up and he looked in the mirror. And then that dark flash came again. And it hit him. Said, you belong to me in the pits of hell. Then he got scared. He started shaking. He dropped down on his knees and said, please, Lord, save me, save me. Then he heard that voice. He said it was a calming voice. And that calming voice told him, get rid of everything. Get rid of everything. Get rid of the drugs, get rid of the money, and come to me. He said he got up, he went into the room, and told girl to get up and get out. And he was like, looking at her. She's laying there, what's wrong with you? He's like, put your clothes on and get out. Get out of here. So she jumped up, put her clothes on and rushing to get out. And she's crying because she don't know what's going on. She's in a panic. He's like, get out. It's over. It's over. Get out. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. He's yelling at her. She gets out. She's running out. She's crying. She ain't got nowhere to go in the middle of the night. He puts her out. She's gone. Now, he goes and he gets all of his drugs. The first thing he thought about doing, and he picked up the phone, he said he called his friends and told them to come get it. Right? That's what he was going to tell them. When he called them, they didn't answer. Didn't nobody answer. So he hung up. And the voice kept telling him to get rid of it, get rid of it. So he took the drugs and flushed them down the toilet. He said it was so much drugs because he had to go into the part of the floor and he said it was so much drugs he couldn't flush it. It dried up the water in the toilet, so he ran water in the bathtub, filled the bathtub up, poured all the drugs in there, and then poured the drain thing and let it go down the drain. All of his drugs was gone. All of the drugs. Now he had all of this money. He said, what do I do with the money? What do I do with the money? So he ran downstairs. He was upstairs, y'all. I left that part out. So he ran downstairs, and he's looking around. He's thinking about burning the money. But he didn't burn the money. He said he ran back upstairs, and he ran out. He grabbed all the money, took 2 or 3 trips, and he put all the money in the car, and he took it, and he just took it down to the church, and he left it on the porch. Just left it on the porch. Just left the money. I said, you left all that money on the porch. He said, I left it on the porch. You left all that money on the porch. He's like, yeah, I left it on the porch. I said, okay. Sure you did. Because I was like, ain't nobody done that. Ain't nobody done that. But he puts it on everything that he did. Now, here's what got me. After he did all of that, 2 or 3 days later, guess what happened to him, y'all? He started thinking about getting back in. He still had all his connections. He still had money in the bank. Dirty money, though. He didn't get rid of everything like that voice had told him. Get rid of all of it. Get rid of all of it and repent. He didn't do it. Guess what happened? Whoop, whoop. Feds dropped down on him. They got him. He ends up in jail. Now, he's on parole, so he going back to the state first. Going back and forth to court with the feds, all this and all that. But he's in the state first. And he's telling his story. He's sharing his story. He's writing it down. He's passing it out to people. Like I said, he told me about it a while ago. You know what I'm saying? And he's telling me about it again. Now, guess what? All of that money that he had in the bank, it's gone. The money's gone. Now, this is the part, y'all, I need y'all to pay attention to. When the money was gone, and it was all just him leaning on the Most High, he ain't got nobody to support him. The girl, he ran her away. He ain't got no money. He's in here eating state trays, living off the state draw, which ain't nothing. We make 17 to 59 cents an hour. Well, 50 cents an hour. If you got a specialty job, you make 59. Some jobs you can make $1. But that's what he's living off of. This man walking around smiling every day. Every day. Guess what happened, y'all? When he went flat broke, his girlfriend came back, the one with his kids. She come back. Because he had been writing her, telling her, and sharing his testimony. She come back. His mom and dad had come back to his side. Right? And lo and behold, guess what happened? He left. They took him to court. He go to federal court. Come back. They done dropped the charges down to where they gonna run them in together with the state time. And they done dropped them down so low, he ain't tell on nobody either. He ain't tell on nobody. His friend told on him. But they done dropped him down so low, they gonna run it, and they gonna run it in concurrent with what he's already doing. So when he finishes his state time, he'll be done with his fed time, he get out. Done. Done with his sentence. This man got 5 more years to do, and he's scot-free. And he's talking about preaching. Well, he had 5 years, but now he's at that point where he's getting ready to go home. When he made the deal, it was 5 years he had to knock off and do whatever. But now he's getting ready to roll. And he said, that's why he's in the pulpit. He said he got a testimony to share with everybody. And this really happened. He filled the bathtub up with water to get rid of the dope. He was flushing so much dope down the toilet, it dried up all the water in the toilet. And he left the money on the steps of churches. Just left the money. Just left the money. And then when he went broke in his bank account, then that's when everything good happened for him. What's the message in there? What's the message in there? When the Most High say get rid of all love, he said get rid of all love. And once that happened, things started happening for him. So when you live in that life, get rid of all love and give it all to him. However he tells you to do it, do it. However he tells you to do it, do it. And lean not to your own understanding. Can I get an amen? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.